Steve the Baxman Baxley here, unusually non-coiffed. Okay, how y'all doing? Welcome to our lovely little Sunday broadcast of the Sports Final. Steve Baxley, and we got a lot for you. And yes, we're gonna briefly, if we have to, and we will talk about the fight. Yes, we gotta talk about it. But right now, it's sports. It's late Sunday in the East. No, it's late Sunday in the West Coast. It's Monday here in the East. Let's do some sports, shall we? Okay, and ooh la la bassoon. This was fun. I'm telling you, this was a fun but strange week 12. How fun, how strange. We're not going to believe at all what happened. So let's start off our mini version of the Monday Night Quarterback with the following. Vikings beat the Panthers 28-27. Bridgewater had 267 yards, 1 touchdown. Davis, 15 rushing attempts at 55 yards. Anderson, 4 receptions, 94 yards, 1 touchdown for the Vikings. Cousins, 307 yards, 3 touchdowns. Cook, 18 rushing attempts for 61 yards. Johnson, 7 receptions, 74 yards. Patriots beat the Cardinals 20-17. Murray, 170 yards. Drake, 22 rushing attempts, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hopkins, 5 receptions, 55 yards for the Patriots. Newton, 84 yards. Harris, 14 rushing attempts, 47 yards. Myers, 5 receptions, 52 yards. 5 receptions, yes. Wow. The Cleveland Browns defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars by a deuce, 27-25. Mayfield, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chubb, 19 rushing attempts for 144 yards and a touchdown. Landry, 8 receptions, 143 yards, 1 touchdown. For the Jags, Glennon, 235 yards, 2 TDs. Robinson, 22 attempts, 128 yards, and 1 touchdown. And Johnson, 4 receptions, 96 yards, 1 touchdown. Giants beat the Bengals 19-17. Jones had 213 yards for Giants. Gallman, 24 rushing attempts, 94 yards, and a touchdown. Ingram, 6 receptions, 129 yards. Allen for the Bengals, 136 yards, 1 touchdown. Bernard, 8 rushing attempts for 32 yards. Higgins, 5 receptions, 44 yards, and a massively fun touchdown. Titans defeated the Colts 45-26. Tannehill did it again. 221 yards, 1 touchdown. Henry, 27 rushing attempts, 178 yards, and 3 TDs. Brown, 4 receptions, 98 yards, and 1 touchdown. Phillip Rivers, there, tilt it down just a little. No, up, right there. Rivers, 295 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hines, 10 rushing attempts for 29 yards. And Hilton went to the hotel with 4 receptions, 81 yards, and a touchdown. Bills beat the Chargers 27-17. Hibbett for the Chargers, 316 yards for a touchdown. Eckler, 14 rushing attempts, 44 yards, and 11 receptions for 89 yards. For the Bills, Allen, 157 yards, 1 touchdown. Singletary, 11 rushing attempts, 82 yards. And Davis, 3 receptions, 79 yards, and a touchdown. For a big one, this is getting better. Miami Dolphins, they just did in the Jets 20-3. The Jets I don't want to read the Jets. It just didn't matter. Fitzpatrick, 257 yards, 2 touchdowns. Washington, 13 rushing attempts for 49 yards. Parker, 8 receptions, 119 yards. We are contractually obligated to give you the Jets numbers. Darnold, 197 yards. Gore, which the team is right now, just Gore. 18 rushing attempts, 74 yards. And Perryman, 4 receptions, 79 yards. Saints blew out the Broncos 31-3. Hill, 78 yards for the Saints. Murray, 19 rushing attempts, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns. Thomas, 4 receptions, 50 yards for the Broncos. Hinton, 13 yards. Freeman, 8 rushing attempts for 50 yards. And Fant, 1 reception, 13 yards. We continue on our merry little Chase and Sanborn way. 49ers defeated the Rams in a very close game, 23-20. Mullins, 252 yards. Wilson, 12 rushing attempts, 43 yards. Samuel, 11 receptions, 133 yards. For the Rams, Goff, 198 yards. Akers, 9 attempts, 84 yards, 1 touchdown. Woods, 7 receptions, 80 yards. Here's a stunner. The Chiefs beat the Buccaneers 27-24. Mahomes, 462 yards and 3 touchdowns. Edwards-Helaire, 11 rushing attempts for 37 yards. Hill, 13 receptions, 269 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, get this. Brady, for the Buccaneers, 345 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jones, 9 attempts, 66 yards. And Gronk, 6 receptions, 106 yards. And, of course, the Sunday night game, Packers beat the Bears, slaughtered them, slam danced them, put them in a crate, and sent them to their final resting place. 41-25. Trubisky came back, 242 yards, 3 touchdowns. Montgomery, 11 rushing attempts, 103 yards. Robinson, 8 receptions, 74 yards, 2 touchdowns. For the Packers, the anointed one, Aaron Rodgers, 211 yards, 4 TDs. Jones, 17 attempts, 90 yards. Tonyan, 5 receptions, 67 yards, and a touchdown. And now the game, we leave you with a surprise. You're going to poo your pants when you hear this. Raiders versus the Falcons. If you were a betting man, you would put some money on the Raiders. But the final score may have made sports books cringe with terror. Falcons 43, Raiders 6. Wow. Carr for the Raiders, 215 yards passing. Jacobs, 7 rushing attempts, 27 yards. Renfro, 7 receptions, 73 yards for the Falcons. Ryan, 185 yards and 2 touchdowns. Smith, 12 rushing attempts, 65 yards, 1 touchdown. Ridley, 6 receptions, 50 yards, 1 touchdown. And Monday, you got the Seattle Seahawks and the Philadelphia Eagles. And on Tuesday, the Ravens taking on the Steelers. That's not all our NFL news. We got more. And, wow, incredible. All right, let's talk about the Broncos game first. Here it is, folks. After the Broncos, well, they had a big situation. The pandemic has created some crazy situations for NFL teams this year. And none of them will be crazier than what the Denver Broncos have to deal with on Sunday. For their game against New Orleans, all 4 of the quarterbacks on Denver's roster were ruled ineligible due to COVID-19 concerns, which means they had no quarterbacks. With 0 quarterbacks on their roster, you might be wondering, why didn't Denver just simply go out and sign a free agent like, Colin Kaepernick or literally anyone else? And the answer to that question is Signing someone wasn't an option because that player wouldn't have been allowed to play on Sunday. Now, under the NFL COVID protocols that went into effect on October 17th, the newly acquired player had to sit out for 6 days before he's allowed to join his new team. For instance, if a player signed on Monday, that would be considered day one of a 6-day period. As long as the player tests negative for COVID over that span, he'd be allowed to enter his new team's facility on the 6th day. In Broncos' case, if they had signed a quarterback on Saturday, the absolutely earliest the player would have been allowed to practice with the team would have been the following Thursday, which means signing a free agent wasn't an option for the Broncos. The Broncos' crazy situation started on Thanksgiving after backup QB Jeff Driscoll tested positive for COVID. At that point, the Broncos knew they were going to be down a man. But then the NFL threw them a curveball on Saturday when the other three quarterbacks on their roster, Drew Lock, Brett Ripien, and Blake Bortles, were deemed ineligible due to contact tracing concerns. With all four quarterbacks out, the Broncos returning to practice squad receiver Kendall Hinton. The Broncos were so desperate for a quarterback that they actually asked the NFL if one of their assistant coaches could be signed to the active roster. But the league shot them down. Instead, the Broncos rolled with Hinton, who did play some quarterback during his freshman year at Wake Forest, but he hasn't really played any snaps at the position since 2015. If you're wondering why the NFL didn't move the game to Monday or Tuesday, like the league has done with multiple other games this season, the reason is the Broncos didn't have an outbreak of COVID. They had an issue that was confined to one position group, quarterbacks, and the NFL insisted all season that games will be played if there's no threat of outbreak. It's also possible the league decided not to give the Broncos any sort of benefit of the doubt after it was discovered the team wasn't following the NFL's COVID protocols. According to Mark Mask of the Washington Post, all four quarterbacks failed to wear masks in meetings, and after Driscoll tested positive, the other three quarterbacks weren't cooperative with the contact tracers from the NFL and NFLPA. SpaghettiOs. So maybe it was right for them to lose a lot of points to 3. Oh, boy. Okay, let's keep going. And, wow. After the Jaguars' embarrassment, well, they did what they had to do. They fired their general manager. I'm not kidding. The Jacksonville Jaguars have fired general manager Dave Caldwell. Head coach Doug Marrone will remain in his role through the rest of the season, and former 49ers general manager Trent Balk will serve as the team's interim GM. Jaguars owner Shad Khan issued the following statement on the matter. I've met with Dave Caldwell to express my appreciation for his service to the Jacksonville Jaguars as our general manager. Dave was exceptionally committed and determined to bring a winner to Jacksonville, but unfortunately his efforts were not rewarded with the results our fans deserve and our organization expects. Our football operation needs new leadership, and we will have it with a new general manager in 2021. End quote. Caldwell had filled his current role since 2013, but was not able to overcome the team's present struggles. The Jaguars fell to 1-10 on the season with a 27-25 loss at home to the Browns. Since being hired, the team has just had one winning season in 2017. The Jaguars went 10-6 during the regular season and advanced to the AFC Championship before losing to the Patriots on a controversial fumble play. In 6 seasons under the Buffalo Natives' guidance, the AFC South franchise has gone 37-86 during the regular season. Now, prior to arriving in Jacksonville, Caldwell had spent 5 years as the director of college scouting and director of player personnel for the Falcons. He cut his teeth in less glamorous roles with the Panthers and Colts from 96 to 2007. His first order of business was firing then head coach Mike Mularkey. The current roster is a shell of that team that advanced to the AFC Championship. Jacksonville has moved on from Dante Fowler Jr., Jalen Ramsey, Calais Campbell, and Yannick Ngakoue via trade since that defeat. Caldwell is the fourth GM to be fired this season, joining Atlanta's Thomas Dimitroff, Houston's Bill O'Brien, and Detroit's Bob Quinn. Wow. Maybe they'll hire Bobby Quinn. I mean, somebody can do it, even a monkey. Okay, another dismissives. Remember Vanderbilt? Yesterday they made news when they had a female kicker. Well, sad to say, that was the last thing that Derek Mason will do, or will be known for. Vanderbilt fired Derek Mason on Sunday after 7 seasons leading the Commodores, which probably eliminates a high-profile defensive coordinator from taking the job. That's exactly what Mason was when he came to Nashville from Stanford in 2014. Mason, though, could never get the offense humming. The profile of the new coach should address those offensive struggles. But will it? The breaking point for Vanderbilt was a morbid 41-0 loss at Missouri. The Commodores have to be open to all options, whether coordinators, current head coaches, unemployed coaches, or a group of 5 coaches. That said, Vandy has hired just one sitting head coach once in the last 34 years, and that was Bobby Johnson. More importantly, a coach who takes this will be accepting a risk. He must be able to afford a failure. The Vanderbilt job has been a bottomless pit recently. Who can take the gig, potentially get fired in a few years, and still retain the stature he currently possesses in the industry? Well, stay tuned. Someone will take it. Maybe Mike Patricia. You never know. All right. And, wow. Is there indeed trouble brewing between Coach Arians and Tom Brady? Oh, boy. Tampa's coach Bruce Arians offered more pointed public critique of future Hall of Fame quarterback Tom Brady's performance throughout last week. Something many close to Brady have come to expect, but something they bristle against as well. Brady himself is not inclined to say anything in the media about the persistent negative assessment of his work by Arians, sources say. But it is clearly not going unnoticed, and in the estimation of several people close to the QB, it is being done at least in part as a diversionary tactic to take attention away from the significant scheme and adjustment issues the coaching staff have yet to correct. Several NFL execs and scouts who have scouted the Buccaneers have also concluded that the offense is fairly predictable and failing to play to the 43-year-old quarterback's strengths, setting up an interesting final month of the regular season for the 7-4 team. Brady has come under fire from Arians since the start of the season for his inaccuracy at times, failure to read coverage properly, and other mistakes. The veteran is accustomed to such scrutiny behind the scenes in team meetings from his time with Bill Belichick, but many around the league and the coaching and general manager world are confused by the repeated public lashings of arguably the greatest player in NFL history who is nearing the end of his career. Now, if nothing else, Brady is a full-time student of the game and was accustomed to completely different game plans, point of emphasis, and sweeping halftime adjustments when necessary in New England. But that has not been the case in Tampa, where any wholesale changes or critical rethinks of the offense were very unlikely. Comments with those who have scouted the Bucs revealed a similar sentiment with the reliance on multiple vertical routes and the deep ball. Despite that not being Brady's forte at this point in his career, some predictable trends in play calling, a propensity to be stuck in second and long, the lack of a true pass-catching threat out of the backfield, Brady going back to his days with Kevin Falk. Offensive coordinator Brian Leftwich is not an experienced and accomplished play caller, which is also a factor. The Bucs lead the NFL with 27 dropbacks on attempts that travel 30 yards or more in the air. According to PFF, the NFL average, by the way, is 16, with Brady posting a brutal 46.4 rating on those passes. They also lead the NFL with 60 attempts that have traveled 20 yards or more. The NFL average is 40. Despite Brady's QB rating of being just 57.6 on such passes, Brady has attempted 13 passes to running backs, slightly over the NFL average of 10. But the lack of a true air attack has been obvious to opponents. The Bucs average just 2.62 yards per attempt to running backs, far and away worse in the NFL. League average is 65 yards per attempt. Indeed, Brady has attempted 284 passes in his zone coverage, most in the NFL per PFF, with 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and a weak 85.7 rating within the NFL. The Bucs do not employ an emphasis on pre-snap motion and movement. Many of the NFL's top offenses rely on it heavily, and while Brady excels in play action with a 115 rating, the Bucs have just 89 dropbacks in play action this season. 25th most in the NFL. There are things the Bucs could do to alter the scope of the offense and alter the short and immediate passing game, but it remains to be seen if they will. More fundamental roster or schematic changes may have to wait till 2021, and in the meantime, the Arians and Brady relationship bears monitoring, with the fit between player and scheme less than stellar thus far. By the way, special Lost Blame the Interwebs with Nick Taylor Law channel right now, right here on YouTube. And, well, do we do it? Yes, we do. It's time now for the Associated Press Top 25 College Football Poll. It is out, and boy, do we... We got some goodies, kids. Yes, indeed. We got some goodies. I hope we got some goodies. Do we have some goodies, or are the polls going to be delayed till Monday? We'll have to find that out. But I don't think they should be because, well, So, here we are through games November 29th. Here are the top 25. Liberty, number 25, Iowa 24, Washington 23, Tulsa 22, Oregon 21, Louisiana 20, Oklahoma State 19, Wisconsin 18, Southern Cal 17, Northwestern 16, Marshall 15, Coastal Carolina 14, Oklahoma 13, Oklahoma State 12, Georgia 11, 10, Indiana 9, Miami, Florida 8, BYU 7th, Cincinnati 6th, Florida 5th, Texas A&M 4th, Clemson 3rd, Ohio State 2nd, Notre Dame, and first again is Alabama. Not bad, as they say, not bad. Okay, by the way, Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll have for you the college football playoff wonderments. And they will be with us. It's college football week 2 playoff rankings 1 through 2. Did we do that? The college football top 25 announcements, 7 p.m. Tuesday, November 24th. Oh, here we are. Rankings release schedule. Oh, goody. Find out when the next rankings release will be. I think it's going to be this coming Tuesday. Let's see. 7 p.m. Tuesday, December 1st. Then we got 7 p.m. Tuesday, December 8th. Then Tuesday, December 15th, the final one before the selection show at noon Eastern on December 20th. Christmas time for all you college football fanatics. Out there. And there you go. What a day. And let's see, what else we got? I don't think we got much. I think we're going to make this a 40-minute show because I do have something to do tomorrow at 5:30. I got a ticket of mine to work tomorrow, so we're just we're going to go to about 12:40. Okay, so there you go. Okay. Wow. What a day we've had. And let's see. I'm trying to get to the backsport here. Okay. Oh yeah, let's talk about the sportscast tonight. Snoop Dogg. Yeah. Of course, as you know, was last night the Tyson Jones fight, if you want to call it that. But the Mike Tyson drew with Roy Jones Jr., but the best fight came, believe it or not, YouTube celebrity Jake Paul dwelled he hit a big punch and totally knocked out former NBA star Nate Robinson in the second round. And Snoop Dogg, that's right, you heard me, Snoop Dogg did a little play-by-play. And believe it or not, he was damn good. Snoop Dogg was really good on the mic. I won't say what he said, but if you want to hear it, it's obvious it'll be on some highlight shows. On paper, Saturday night's boxing event featuring 54-year-old Mike Tyson and 51-year-old Roy Jones was destined to be a train wreck spectacle more akin to a WWE pay-per-view than an evening of physical action. However, who would have predicted that the star of the evening wouldn't be Tyson or Jones Jr. or even YouTube star Jake Paul, but Snoop Dogg. Now, while the main event showdown of former boxing greats was the marquee matchup, the match that stole the show was actually one between Paul and former NBA player Nate Robinson. As for why this fight was even happening in the first place, well, while Robinson came in the evening making his boxing debut, this was Paul's second sanctioned match, and whatever advantage that gave him certainly showed. Back in May, Robinson told TMZ Sports on FS1, "I'm a top-tier athlete. Beating me would probably be the biggest accomplishment for your boxing career or social media influencer, whatever." Well, whatever it is, Paul can add that accomplishment to his credit, as he did beat Robinson, knocking him out big. In the second round, while the series of events was certainly something to watch, it was Snoop's commentary that really put things over the top. And again, we can't give you any audio, but wow, he did good. Snoop, among some of his erstwhile comments, "Oh my God, Lord, have mercy. Oh, Jesus," before singing a section of a spiritual hymn, "Precious Lord, take my hand." By the time the Tyson Jones match came around, however, Snoop was really feeling the energy. He summed up the evening best by describing the fight as two of my uncles fighting at the barbecue and then doing character voices to illustrate that. That the match ended in a draw only seemed to confirm the sentiment. This isn't Snoop's first foray into broadcasting. He made a guest appearance on Lakers broadcast showing that same style that made Twitter fall in love with him on Saturday. He's also done a little play-by-play for the LA Kings. Is there any sport Snoop can't conquer? Well, baseball. But hey, or football. We'll get to that when the mind, body, and spirit commence. I'm going to say goodnight early because I'm really feeling a little couple of twinges here. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to sign off a little early. And we'll see you Monday, I hope. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And I'm going to sign off now. Thanks, and good night, everybody.